Spirit, speak to me. My soul is listening. I want to follow in your path of bliss and peace. Spirit, speak to me. My soul is yearning. Good morning, Unity Athens. Good morning, Debbie Schrodt and Terry. Yay! What a fabulous day. So you are all beautiful, and I'm so thankful and happy to see you. Let's just take this moment to go into our oneness, which is in the center of our heart. And we just close our eyes and get comfortable. Thank you for this beautiful day and for each soul here, for each person and for all the ones they love.
Our vision. We envision a world that works for all, a world at peace, where people not only accept but celebrate their differences, where we understand our connection to all creation and steward its resources with gratitude, where everyone responds with love. And our mission? Our mission is to co-create with the Spirit of God a community that expresses the light and love of God, to provide a safe place for contemplation and celebration, to empower positive thought and encourage connection to Spirit and our highest selves, and to be a welcoming haven of peace, acceptance, and joy. And our core values include love, spiritual growth and transformation, truth, inclusiveness and diversity, abundance, and peace. Thank you.
I have faith that I am divinely guided. Today I consider the path that has brought me to this moment. Looking back at past situations, I now see that seemingly insurmountable obstacles held rich new opportunities to allow my Christ self to guide my every choice. Divine guidance is never withheld and is more rewarding than any scenarios my mortal mind may envision.
This is the heartbeat of our Mother, our sacred Mother, the one we've shared from birth. I am a radiant expression of divine love, a brilliant stream of infinite possibility. This love goes out from me and lights my way. It shimmers in a rainbow of color as I love others. When I choose to keep my mind focused on love as the greatest power in my life, I create and experience greater possibilities than I have ever imagined before. Peace, be still, I am love. Peace, be still, I close my eyes and lift my hands up. Peace, be still, Holy Spirit, fill my cup. Peace, be still, peace, be still. So rather than going into meditation, I'm going to ask each and every one of us to point to their selves, if you would. Everybody goes to the heart chakra, our love place. Okay, that's center. Maybe some of us went to the gut, our wisdom place, or your mind. Our hearts, our ability to love, are, to me, what makes us spirit walking in this world, in these bodies, these body temples, vehicles for spirit. And love has so many different aspects, and we've talked about it all month. When I was preparing this talk, Debbie and I talked earlier in the week, and I'm always like, I'm not really sure what I'm going to say Sunday. Sometimes it just starts coming to me, and sometimes I have this whole thing planned out, and Spirit says, no, you're going to go here. We talked about love all month, and yet sometimes it feels like there's obstacles in the way of love. We're talking about overcoming obstacles this morning, and the obstacle being that which keeps us possibly maybe it's never happened to you, from feeling love, whether for our world, for someone else, or for ourselves. And it brought to mind a time about 25 years ago, and I'm going to read some of this. I don't normally read my talks, but this was pouring through last night. I was in a different spiritual center a long time ago. The person none of you know, and we were talking about another person none of you know. We were kind of triangulating, which isn't a healthy thing to do. But this person had been very seemingly controlling, and my friend said about her, I know we're supposed to love everybody, but how can I love someone I don't even like? And it gave me pause, then it gave her pause. And we both chatted about it a little bit. We're both truth students. We were both studying the principles. We tossed some thoughts back and forth. And I probably answered that question differently then than I would have 10 years later or 15 years later. But then there's now. Eric Butterworth, in his wonderful book, which has been compiled by Unity Village, Practical Metaphysics, a new insight into truth, which was transcribed from some of his lectures, says this, that the Greek translation for that often quoted phrase, love thy neighbor as thyself, the Greek translation actually is, love to our neighbor as thyself. Can you see the difference of that? Being loving to, rather than love you, you're wonderful. Love to. So we can think of the other person in a loving way. We can see the Christ in them, as we did with Debbie's beautiful song this morning. We can act and think lovingly toward him, her, them. And if we're muttering, yeah, right, but you don't know what I'm dealing with here, think again. It doesn't mean inviting them to dinner, but you might. It doesn't mean to be best buds, or to flatter them, or to give them money, or to propose marriage. It also doesn't mean to look down on them in a demeaning or critical way while revving up our own love mojo and sending them love. For that could be criticism and judgment masked in love. I do that sometimes. And I find that mask has teeth with poison in them. And it poisons the self, not the other. It keeps me from being a vehicle for love. To act and think lovingly is to release judgment and condemnation, to stop putting others into boxes and narrowly defined parameters like, he's an idiot, she'll never learn, stay away from that one. Even my friend's comment, I don't like her, is judgmental because usually it goes into a litany of the things we don't like about someone. When we use spiritual principles, what do? We empower ourselves. When we open to the love that we are, that divine love, the non-judgmental love, we open ourselves to magnificent living. Like Greg so beautifully read from Marianne Williamson this morning. When we open ourselves to love, we open ourselves to abundance. It's part of the flow of financial abundance. When we open ourselves to love, we open to divine well-being, health, fabulous synchronicities, and joy. When we have thoughts of hatred, disdain, judgment, anger, unkind thoughts and words, close us up like a fist. You want to try that? See what it feels like to make a fist. If you want, make it really tight. See how we can even hurt our own hands with our nails, with the tightness of the muscle? What does love do to that fist? Show it to someone else, if you will. Just hold it out. It opens it up. Can you feel the relaxation of those muscles? And also the vision of the open palm, ready to let more things in. What can we let in when we're like this? Eric Butterworth tells a story in this book, about a man and his writer friend. The writer friend had asked life, we'll call him Man A, because he wanted to put it in a book, and he thought this story would be perfect for the book. Man A thought, no, this is a personal thing. I can't share that. I can't give you permission to put it in your book. They'd been friends for a long, long time, but this caused a rift between them. The writer felt like, well, he should have given it to me. He should trust me to do right with it as I put it in the book. Man A is thinking, no, it's my personal thing, and it should be my personal choice not to allow him to do this. And their friendship got stopped. They stopped talking, they stopped communicating, they stopped feeling the love going back and forth. But Man A felt it. And Eric said he realized he was going to have to get himself straightened out. He began to take frequent times in the stillness to deal with himself, to get centered in the consciousness of love. It took time in that stillness to fill himself with the realization that in this divine flow of love there can be no separation, there can be no confusion, there can be no ill will, no hurt, no anger. He waited until he could get himself completely at ease. And again, completely at ease in that consciousness before he could do anything further, take any other steps. Then what did he do? Butterworth asked. He simply looked up from his consciousness and looked out and looked at his friend, the image of his friend, right? Across the miles, and saw him with the eyes of love. You picture that? Saw him in the consciousness of love. And he says this, he didn't try to send anything to him. Last week we practiced sending love from our heart chakra, and that's okay. But he didn't try to send anything to him. He didn't try to project his thoughts. I love you, you're a good person. No. He just sat with him in the consciousness of love. That love to your neighbor, I believe this is what it is. Within 48 hours, he received a letter from the writer apologizing for ever asking for permission, saying he was incorrect and even pushing it like he did, and even said he had spoken to an attorney, and the attorney said they could have a libel suit, don't go there. Within 48 hours. This was written decades ago, before email. So what do we know? It means that letter was probably written a day before he sat in that consciousness, or maybe the day of, but it happened. How can we be aware of when we're not loving? Abraham Hicks calls it emotional indicators, how we feel. Feeling angry about something, love's not flowing too well. Feeling discouraged, regretful, judgmental, wanting to get even, talking negatively about events, people, ourselves. Finding ourselves saying or thinking things that aren't kind, and then getting this funny little feeling. Get that? Sometimes I do when I know I'm off track. I get this funny little feeling, like a nudge, that maybe I shouldn't say or think that way. Those are all emotional indicators. When I went to the UMass meeting at the beginning of February, it was on, we were talking about it this morning because the pictures there are so pretty on Seabrook Island. I had rented a car because I need to get some work done on my Subaru. And I ordered a simple compact from Enterprise. I love Enterprise because when I was out in Yellowstone and I had a broken elbow and I got the surgery done and I had to fly back home, and the manager of the whole region of Enterprise saw me out in the parking lot trying to tug my suitcase, and he got my suitcase and he got me all the way into the lobby of the airport and even helped me check in. So I told him, I'm renting from you for life. That's a love thing. But I got to pick up the car and I'm looking for the little compact, and they said, oh, we've upgraded you. I think they didn't have any compacts left, but that's being judgmental. That didn't feel good to say that. No, anyway, they said, we're upgraded you. I said, oh, that's great. And they gave me a Hyundai Genesis. And they didn't know I was a minister. And it kind of looks like a spaceship. It's silver and had this pointy front. And they go, oh, goodness, how can I drive this? And it had all these Bluetooth things in it. I mentioned a couple weeks ago that the guy set up my phone in it even, and it started calling me when I was driving, because I don't really know how to do that. But backup cameras. But what happened was, when I got out on the highway, when I was on the road, if I veered least little bit off my lane, these blue lights started blinking on the dashboard, and there was this sound sort of between a cricket and a bird inside the dash, reminding me that I wasn't driving straight. Not only just out of my lane, but if I just played with the wheel a little bit, because this is cool, let me see how this works. There's the cricket again. Okay, there's the blue lights. It was an indicator that I wasn't going the straight path. Those are our emotions. That's what our emotions do when we're not thinking about love, when we're not being from a loving place. Now, I could have ignored the little lights. I could have ignored the little blurby sound, but that wouldn't help me find my path. I could ignore when I feel funny about something I've said or I've thought, but that won't help me find my correct path. And those emotions are important for just that reason. We can ignore our gut feelings. We can ignore our nudges that we're not acting in a loving manner. But why live off course? There are people, friends in my life that I go to that give me that kind of guidance. I don't always want to hear when they remind me to look upon situations with love, because I want to talk. I want to say, that wasn't right. Or look at this, or look what happened, or look what's going on in the news. Sometimes I even roll my eyes. Want to roll your eyes with me? But they help me see how to straighten my path. Back to 25 years ago, my friends saying, I don't like her and I don't have to like her. What might I have said? What might we say to another? We can be understanding. We can salute the divine in that person. That namaste, that I see the Christ in you again. We can stop judging. Unity principle number 1. Anyone want to call it out?
God is all good.
God is all good and everywhere present. To elaborate, there is nothing that is not God. There is nothing that is not good. Am I right that we Truth, New Thought students, Pathfinders, light workers generally believe and so appreciate a God, divine being, whatever you want to call it, a force for love that we see as not judgmental, not judging us, not sending us into a flaming hell? Can we give an amen to that? Amen! Not hell. Okay, God doesn't judge me. Yay! Do we love the thought that that divine I am, it is part of us, and we wish, try, strive to be more like that, like it, more God-like? Yeah, amen. This loving, amazing, creative, comforting, empowering source for good, we strive to be that. If the divine creator doesn't judge, sees us as love, as beautiful, evolving beings, children, if you will, of that energy, and we want to be like that, then why should we, anyone, judge anyone else? So stepping back again 25 years, and time is a spiral, I could perhaps sit with my friend and say, hey, let's make a list of positive things about her. Like her hairdo, like her smile, what a great voice, like the way she wants to take charge of everything. Oh, that was kind of... And then let's do a prayer. Not for her, but for us. To see us becoming better at understanding love, and right now, here. Let's be still. Sit in the consciousness for 5 minutes or so. Not send love to, but hold in the consciousness of love. And that can be ourselves. As Marianne Williamson said, the only way to achieve love, is to be more loving. So let's complete this message today by sitting, soaking in, being the consciousness of love, and extending that by seeing it in others. A bit of chemistry, a hint of mystery. Then there is harmony, sounds of a symphony, crescendo bliss in a love explosion, in a fabulous notion. Love explosion, it ripples the ocean. Speak names into the circle, prayer requests, holding visions of those that you love, sending a message to someone who has passed on.
I send my love over the sea. I send